Welcome everyone to the Hurting Humanity channel. The truth is all around us. It's just a matter of whether or not your brain can actually process what is truth and what is not truth. Kind of the opposite of what they're trying to do by telling people that anything that goes against what the mainstream media is saying is misinformation. But I think it's becoming very clear, even to people out there who aren't fully awake, that what we're dealing with right now is spiritual wickedness in high places. In fact, I think it's safe to say that most of these things that are walking among us may not even be human, as hard as that is for people to comprehend. And no, I'm not speaking about aliens from outer space. I'm speaking about what is told in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And recently we're hearing a lot of stories out there, not just the government baiting people into their misinformation campaign known as aliens and UFOs. We're hearing a lot of talk about aliens living among us, disguised as humans. And again, I've talked about this over the years, and if you're new to my channel, Aleister Crowley is the person whose teachings they follow. Aleister Crowley, the man known as legitimately the Beast 666 while he was here on Earth. Aleister Crowley was known for doing wicked satanic rituals that involve young children. In these rituals, he invoked demons and spirits. Today, he wrote in his book, they call them angels and demons. Tomorrow, they will call them something else. And of course, today, they are called aliens. The depiction of what a gray is actually from Lam, who is a spirit summoned by Aleister Crowley. And the reason for this video is that if you didn't hear recently, Nancy Pelosi once again spoke on national television and talked about how we're very different and we're very discreet reptilians. This is the second time that we've heard Nancy Pelosi talk about reptilians and being a reptilian. And it's amazing that people don't find the way that she's speaking, or it's speaking here on national television, suspicious at all. Here are two clips of Nancy Pelosi within the last year, and as most recently at the Democratic National Convention within the last couple of weeks, talking about how they are reptilians.
They didn't know what they were talking about. We know we're different from the presidential. We're very discreet, reptilian, cold-blooded. These are the races we have to win.
Of course she was going to say that, but...
Poor baby.
Yeah, she's really, really committed to that. It's really sad.
No, I'm not a poor baby. I'm more reptilian, cold-blooded, and go in to win the election.
We're going to take a short break. I want to talk to you more about President Biden and some other things.
Thank you. We're different from the presidential. We're very discreet, reptilian. No, I'm not a poor baby. I'm more reptilian.
So again, they're different. They're very discreet. Reptilians. I read you again, Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And it always reminds me of that clip of Chuck Schumer. If you don't know Chuck Schumer, of course, related to the non-funny comedian who is a massive lib that gets pushed down our throats, Amy Schumer. Chuck Schumer's still in Congress. Chuck Schumer pushing one of these politicians who are pushing all of these insane ideologies onto our society, people who should be removed from power. But of course, these people continue to remain in power. But we know we're dealing with spiritual wickedness in high places. This clip I want to play for you, I don't know if you've ever seen it before, from C-SPAN years ago, where Chuck Schumer literally looks like he's speaking to thin air, but it's very likely that he's speaking to some type of demon or spirit that he is in his presence. So again, so while all these bizarre things are happening around us and we look at the behavior of these people who are supposed elected politicians who we know are placed in these positions of power, there's also lots of stories out there about crypto-terrestrials and lizard people. So you have Nancy Pelosi talking about how they're reptilian, and then we have talk about lizard people. We even have Harvard social scientists laying out the case for the existence of crypto-terrestrials such as lizard people, which they're saying are aliens inside of human bodies. So then we start thinking to ourselves, okay, are these people revealing themselves to us? I mean, they're admitting to being reptilians. Now we have Ivy League colleges telling us that we may have aliens living in human bodies. Is the truth actually coming out? And we look around and we see things like this Mountain Dew commercial that I've covered over the years where they literally are showing people depicted as reptilians. And again, the reptilian shapeshifters, which you hear about often that they want to dismiss, they want you to think it's a crazy conspiracy theory, does go back to the Watchers from the book of Enoch. And I know a lot of people don't want to acknowledge the book of Enoch. They only want to acknowledge the books of the Bible that we're told are the only books of the Bible we're allowed to read. But the book of Enoch does talk about the Watchers and the fallen ones. And recently I covered this new movie from M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, which again, he has so much predictive programming, M. Night, in his films, going back to The Sixth Sense, to The Happening, to his movie The Devil, which have, Antichrist type themes, the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse theme. There are lots of themes in his films that are biblical, and that's passed on clearly to his daughter, who is covering The Watchers. The film The Watchers literally is about the book of Enoch, and it's about these fallen ones. Here are some of the clips from that film that I used in a previous video that has since been removed.
What is this place?
They come every night. They watch us until the sun rises again. It's a window on the other side.
Don't you want to know what they are?
A detailed account of the time before the war.
Life with the fairies was a golden era in the age of man. They lived among us as guardians, friends, even mates. Those half-blooded children, born of both man and fairy, changed everything. They were particularly skilled in the art of transformation, even replicating those that had passed on. What became of the halflings? History has deemed their bloodline extinct. It is yet to be proven. With their power, think of what we could create. Who we could bring back. We were like gods once. It is because of humans that we were smothered under dirt for centuries, choking.
Must be where the fairies were imprisoned. It is said that they once lived among us as gods, the bridge between nature and man. They were banished to a tomb deep underground, sealed in by a great door that prevented them from ever returning the way they came in.
Our kinds used to live as one. Some even fell in love and had children. Kilmartin called them halflings. You're not just a watcher, Madeline. You're also part human. You must have felt it. That you never really belonged. You know what it is to be human. It's jealousy and hatred. But it's also love. Stop it. I know what it's like to believe you're a monster. I know what it's like to feel that half of you is evil. I think there are others like you out there. What if you could find them? We don't have to be alone anymore.
So there's lots of stuff out there about this hybrid race. They're calling it crypto terrestrials, or we've heard people use the term lizard people, which does get people to automatically dismiss the notion of these things actually being demons manifest inside of human beings' bodies. So we know that they're normalizing aliens for this reason, that they're going to reveal this hybrid race, so to speak. And they want you to think that it's these aliens from outer space because, of course, if you realize that demons and entities are real, that the Bible talks often about this, yet no church talks ever really about spirits and spiritual warfare and how it is literal. And it's very easy sometimes if you actually watch how the enemy is operating to start seeing how this stuff is real. Because if you stay focused in on what a lot of the churches focus on, they try to focus on worldly things and the positive things in the world so that you're not depressed and that you're happy and you find fulfillment in your job and money and all those other things. But when you actually look at the other side, if you look at the evil, you start to see that there's so many things that are not taught. There's so many things right in front of us that are in the Bible. Just nobody's paying attention to it. So when we talk about wrestling not against flesh and blood, we're talking about spiritual wickedness. And then we have these people in power, all the people who are infringing on our God-given free will, our right to free speech, our right to defend ourselves, our right to protect ourselves. These people are pushing globalist communism on us, people like Nancy Pelosi, who are pushing all these things and then openly talking about how they're not even human, how they're reptilian. And they want us to look at it and say, oh, it's just a figure of speech, right? But then you catch them saying it multiple times. You catch them saying often how they're not human. And then you say to yourself, yeah, these people are in their 90s. They're still walking around. I mean, do you guys know anybody in their 90s? If you do you think they'd be capable of showing up at Congress every single day to pass laws and talk? You think they'd even care by the time they're 90? I mean, the last person that I knew that was in their 90s, who's no longer with us, was not anywhere in any shape or form, to be able to go to a job, let alone to be able to run a country or a state or to be passing laws, right? We look at these people and we could tell that there's something off with them. They almost look like they're shapeshifted. They almost look like they're not human. I believe fully that what we're seeing right now is the revealing of this stuff. And these things are actually revealing what they truly are right in front of our faces because they don't expect you to notice it. They know that the 501c3 churches are not going to talk about this type of stuff. The 501c3 church is more likely to be on board with the alien deception, not look at it as biblical, than they are to actually talk about demon possession and these entities taking over inside of humans' bodies, and that spiritual warfare is indeed real, that we do not battle against flesh and blood, that we do battle against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, and spiritual wickedness in high places. So I just wanted to cover that. It's been on my mind. I feel like we're seeing more and more of this reveal around us of what these things truly are. Nobody's really paying attention to it. But if you actually just start using common sense, listening to their own words, and then saying to yourself, how are these people still, where do they're walking around. Everybody is out there really for the most part. The majority of us are tired and exhausted from, yes, the psychological warfare they're doing to us, but the radiation exposure, etc. And we have these people in their 90s that don't act human. They don't speak very coherently, right? Biden doesn't speak coherently. Nancy Pelosi certainly doesn't speak coherently. Chuck Schumer doesn't speak coherently. And these are the people, these rulers, right? These are the ones who supposedly we elected, who are in power among us. But they hold no power over us if not given to us from above. And we know ultimately that God, our Father, is in charge and in control. I thank everybody for being here. I hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.